Hi, I'm Abby, and in this video, I'll be showing you how to build your sales call prep AI agent. And I'll be using Zapier agents for this. Now, what is the sales call prep agent meant to do? It's meant to go and scan your Google Calendar, and then it will check for meetings that you have with external people, people that are outside your organization. It will research each attendee, and then it will send a summary of information about them to you before your calls. That's basically what it's going to do. You see how detailed the instruction we're going to give the agent will be. Now, why am I using Zapier agents? I found them very useful and very easy. It's beginner friendly, and anyone can get on it and actually build an agent at this point. So, what is a Zapier agent? A Zapier agent is actually an agent that can talk to your apps. Those are the things you use regularly, maybe like your Slack channel, your Google Calendar, your Google Drive. They have native integration to over 7,000 apps. So what does this mean? They are connected to over 7,000 apps. So think of any of all the popular apps that you use, you should find them here. Now, Zapier agents will talk to your apps, and then they can also perform web searches and then act on your behalf. So this is the interface where we're going to do where we're going to create the agent. So the first thing we're going to do is to create a trigger. We're going to add a trigger. And what is our trigger in this instance? Because I want the agent to act every day at 8 a.m., I'm going to create a schedule. I'm just going to add a schedule trigger. So I'll be using schedule by Zapier for this. So I already have it here, but if I didn't see it here, I could just type schedule here and then it will come up. So I come here and then I've clicked schedule by Zapier. I click it, I click every day, and then I select the time of the day. So because I want it to happen by 8 a.m., I'm just going to click that and then I'm going to save. Now I've created my instruction that I want the agent to follow. And so we're going to see how that is going to work now. I'm just going to paste that. Now you can see it's quite long because I want it to do a very good job. And what am I asking the agent to do? So I'm telling it that it's a pre-sales call prep agent for my company, CodeFreeIQ. And it's going to be providing a consultative briefing before each external sales call. And I've given it the time. As you can see there, I said 8 a.m. just as we inserted in the trigger. Now the steps is going to take. I've also put that there. So I said it will pull the day's meeting from my Google Calendar. And then I told it to ignore personal events and all. So it shouldn't do that. But for each external meeting, it will identify the external parties, it will research them using public web sources, and then it will capture the relevant data. And then it will consult our own FAQ, which we have stored in a knowledge base. It will go to our Google Drive to get that. And then try to match the propositions which we can, offer to the client. So once I've given it this now, it's going to follow my instruction systematically. But for it to do that, we need to make some connections with the apps where it's going to get the information it needs. So we're going to start first from pulling the day's meeting from the Google Calendar. So we need to connect our Google Calendar here. And for us to do that, all we need to do is to use the slash, and then the tools bar will come up, and then we can click on add tools, and then we'll search for the tool we need. Now we need Google Calendar, so we can just pick Google Calendar here. So another thing is, if you wanted to call another agent which you have created so as to answer these questions, or give our new agent the information it requires, you can just click here and then you can do that. But in this case, we're just picking Google Calendar. So we pick Google Calendar, and then it opens up to tell us, okay, which of the subset of the Google Calendar would you like to use? So I pick Find Events. Okay, now I'm going to click on this gear icon. And the reason why I'm clicking on the gear icon is for me to direct it to the exact calendar I want it to go to. So I click on this because I want to set it. I don't want it to make that decision for me. So I pick on the calendar I want it to talk to. Now, if you want it to pick, there's an option for it to select the value for the field itself. If you want it to do that, it can actually, it will go through all your available calendars and then give you, it will work on every event you have on that calendar based on your instruction. So once you do this, you don't need to fill any of this anymore. You just save. Now we're going to the next bit. We said you should identify external parties, you should research them, and then you should consult okay, so this should be FAQ. So I'm just going to change this to FAQ. So you should consult our FAQ. You should visit our website if you can. So now we have to connect the location of our FAQ to the agent as well so that it can carry out what we want it to carry out. So what do? We use the slash again. And then once we use the slash, we add tool. In this case, we are going to our Google Drive, and this is already here. So we click on Google Drive. When we click on Google Drive, we tell it to find the file. Now, we've told it to find the file. We click on that gear icon again. Now, we can let it go and look for it because we've given it a name. But we can also select this and give it the name of the file we want it to search for. So I'll just write CodeFreeIQ FAQs. Once I do that and I save, it's still taking its time. Once I save it, that is already done. And then I said, from that, the reason why it's going to that place is for it to get the calendar, gets the FAQ to understand our offerings and then use that to craft the value proposition that we would use to discuss with the client. Now, I've told it that it should also go to the web. So here, where we have said research each company involved using public web sources. So I should connect it as well to the web. So what I'm going to do is, we already have this here. We can tell it to use the Google search, and it can also visit their website depending on what it is. But in this we want to, Google will give us, like a clear picture of what it is anyway. So now we've told it that. So we move on, and then we tell it that it should give us this entire information, the executive snapshot, which is like the names of the founders, directors, the company overview, their recent news. All that is what we want it to give us, things that are publicly available. And since we've already given it that, Now we can also now tell it that, okay, so there's one other document that I was going to tell it to use um, in a minute. Let me just quickly put that there. So I wanted it to also, it could use our brochure, but let's keep this as simple as it is. So once we give it all these details, we want it to, I mean, once we give it all those tools, we want it to use that to create everything we've written here: executive snapshot, inferred strategic priorities, the value proposition match, the sound bite, an agenda, and then also the anticipated objections and responses. And then after it has come up with that, we want it to send it to our Slack channel. Now I've created a Slack channel specifically for this. So what I need to do in this instance is to connect that Slack channel here. So I'm going to type Slack, and then Slack will come up. So this is our Slack channel. Now we're going to use send channel message because we want it to send a message to the designated channel. Once we do that, we come here, we said you should send it to the Slack channel, and then it should also now log it on a spreadsheet. I already created a spreadsheet for that. The reason why we're doing that is just for audit purposes. Maybe when we want to check, okay, how many messages has it sent? Because at times when we get those messages on Slack, well, for me, they get too many, and then I'm not able to track, well, which one did I get, which one didn't I get immediately after the meeting. So that log just shows everything it has sent to us. Now I add the two. In this case, I'm adding my Google spreadsheet. This is it. And in this case, what I want you to do is that by the time it finishes that, it should create a new row. Now I open up this using that gear, and then I select my drive, the specific drive I want it to go to. My Google Drive, and then the spreadsheet that I want it to take to populate. Now you can see that I already have a log for this here. And then here, yes, we could just select sheet one, because the agent is actually smart enough to pick that which, as in the appropriate one. You can see that I didn't even have to fill that. It already came up itself. So at this point that I have populated this, I save. And once we save, we can see that we have given it the tools. We said it will act on our behalf. So in acting on our behalf, we have to equip it with the things it needs. So in this regard, we've given it the tools it needs. We've given it an instruction. And then what we can need to do now is to test. We will test to see if what we've given it will actually work for it. Now, if I wanted to check our website, which at times I could put this here, and then I could also put the Google search here for it to try to, just give it as much tools as possible for it to carry out the task. So this in itself is already a system. So you fed it with what you want it to do, and then you've given it the tool. So now what you need to do is to test. Now I gave it some, let me move this up. I mentioned that if no, I gave it some conditions that if no external participant is found, you should skip the dossier. I also mentioned that you should use only publicly available information because we don't want it to start giving us false information. So I also mentioned it here that you should not fabricate any insights. I want something that is very clear that everybody out there can see. So that's basically what I have done. So now I'm going to test. So I'm just going to click on test here. It's going to go to my, so I have this meeting. Let me just show what I have. I have this meeting set up. I have it. So it's just going to go to my calendar for today and then do a test. So now I'm just going to click on test agent. Once you click that, it starts doing its thing. It's so long. Just going to refresh. This is the problem. It's carrying out the different tasks, as you can see, and it came up with the dossier. So at the end of the day, this in itself, okay, so because we are testing, it will ask for our permission to send it to our Slack channel. Normally, once we turn it on here, once we toggle this, there's really no need. It will definitely not ask for our permission. It will just go on auto run. So now that we've approved that it should send us that message on Slack, I'll share with you. It has sent it to us on Slack. It's preparing the action to send it to our log as well. So I'm just going to show you the message I got on Slack. Okay. Um, we can see it here. It has sent us the entire, information it got on our, how would I say, our prospects for the meeting. And we are able to go in there prepared. It has given us objections, the anticipated objections. It has put together an agenda. It has also mentioned the sources where it got the information from. All that is what it has done. It went to their website, it checked their LinkedIn, and it also put together a value proposition. They are likely paying everything. You can see that you're going into the meeting well equipped to talk with the prospect, and then you're able to share insights on what you've also seen about them with what it has prepared. So, with that said, I hope this in itself will show you that, being able to put together these processes for yourself, these systems for yourself, just help you concentrate on what matters the most, your strategy, your relationship building, and all. So now that we've done our test, it's going to ask me to approve this as well. That's logging it, putting it on the log. So I have approved that. It's doing that as we speak. Once it does that now, I'll show you what it came up with on our log. It has completed that, and that marks the end of the request we gave our agent. So if we check here now, we can see that it has put the details. Yes, it sent it to Slack. It puts so I need to change this timestamp so that it can reflect the proper format, which is the date. So I'm just going to, where is that date time? So that we can get the exact time it sent it. And if we wanted, some other information that is unique to us, we can put that there as well. And then it told us the name of the participant, it mentioned the sources, and mentioned that it is sent to us on Slack. So that's basically that about that. Before we go on, before we end this, if we wanted to start working immediately, we toggle this on. Once we do that, our agent is live, and it just does its thing quietly while we go about our own business. So all you will see is that at 8 o'clock every morning, it sends you this, it sends you your how would I say, a batch of dossiers for your different meetings on a daily basis. That is basically what it will do for you. So try to test it out yourself, see if there are things you would want to add, and I can assure you that this will just be the beginning of you thinking more about the things you need, and then you're able to create, you know, your create systems that would address those your needs. So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you on the other side.